Hey guys, welcome back to Real Housewives Recaps. Today, we're talking revenge. You guys, this is the last part of this book. We're going to finish this up, but don't worry, we got lots more to read. Next, we're going to be talking courtiers. And then we're going to go into, I ordered Lady Colin Campbell's book, Meghan and Harry, The Real Story, and I thought, you know what, maybe we could dive into that. I have heard reports that courtiers is kind of boring in parts, so I got the book myself. I figure I'll crack it open this weekend. We'll take a look. We'll go into the juicy stuff. How about that? I'm excited to jump in. I'm not going to let it deter me. Let's find the good stuff in that book, and if it's boring, we'll move on. No worries. You guys are here with me. I'm here with you. Leave me comments. We'll do this together, right? You guys, I normally don't break the whatever wall, but I'm going to here. I hope you notice that I always put up these background pictures and I try to change them up because I know there's only a certain amount of pictures of Harold and Fraud, right? So I try to change them up and make a different theme every time. I am so proud of this theme because it is truly spectacularly awful. This is their New York trip in 2021, which I'm going to get into in this part of the book. But the outfits that Meghan wore are so bad. Oh, I don't even want to get ahead of myself. Just wait. And I want to say, you're going to see it because I put words all over this one. It's 80 degrees in New York. 80 degrees. So it's 80 degrees and this is how she's dressed. So just wait for it. Obviously, people can't stand her because nobody is there to say you look ridiculous. They just let her go out like this. All right, before we dive back into revenge. This is my last time saying that like that, you guys. I'm a little nostalgic, so I'll be saying it a lot. But before we dive in, I do want to say, check out my Patreon. Lots of fun stuff going on over there. We have done the South Park episode. We've dove into some of the, Archwell podcast episodes? Oh, it's archetypes. Just awful. But we're having so much fun over there. I can talk freely. Don't have to worry about curse words or anything like that. And it's unfiltered, uncensored. So check that out. A big thank you to all my executive producers. I will be shouting you out at the end of this episode. So thank you all who have signed up. Let's get into revenge. All right, guys. So this is chapter 40 through, I think it's 44, which you're like, oh, hey, Jen, no, actually it's 43, I think. Doesn't matter. It sounds like a lot. It's really not too much to talk about. Except for we're going to make it some stuff to talk about. It's honestly kind of a bummer at the end because, well, it ends before we know all the bad stuff that happens with Spare. So it seems like it's going to be a happy ending, but we know it's not a happy ending. But we'll get into all that. Okay, guys, I'm breaking the fourth wall again because I just looked up to see the pictures. What is this outfit, you guys? What are these outfits? Seriously. That is awful. This is the same trip, by the way, this dress. So you can tell it's hot. She finally gave in and put on a short dress for one of the engagements, but the rest she dressed like this. Oh my goodness. Seriously, what is happening? So much money spent on these clothes, too. I have a picture up. You'll see it where it has the price of all the clothes. And bear in mind that red outfit that I think they said was like 12,000 pounds, that one, is she wore to a school, I believe, in Harlem. Something like that. Yeah, where they ended up giving money to the school. It's the school needed some help, so she wore a really expensive suit. That's nice, huh? Very thoughtful. Okay. This is her reading the bench at this school. We'll get into that. Okay. So like I say, this is the end of the book. We get into, she wrote this 34-page kids book, The Bench. Apparently it was panned online. I went to find reviews and it looks like her supporters have pumped up the rating a little bit. But it's a book on fatherhood. It's on the warmth, the joy, the comfort that fathers can bestow on their children. And again, ironic since they're basically estranged from both dads. I know Charles is not estranged, but I'm saying she tore, well, you know what? I'm not even going to just blame her. I'm going to say they tore themselves away from Charles on that one, but she definitely was estranged from her dad. Tom Bower's a petty bitch like I am, and he likes to point out that her book release ranked 4,934th on the British Amazon chart 2 weeks after its release. The Daily Telegraph called it her semi-literate book that leaves Harry holding the baby. So it was around September 2021 that this was all going on. They ended up going to New York for a 3-day tour. They took a private jet and they were doing all sorts of media. They had restricted the media to just photographs. They had their own film crew there, it sounds like. They stayed at the Carlisle, which was Diana's favorite hotel. They were basically hobnobbing with the political powers that be at the time. I don't get into politics, so I'm not even going there, but it just sounded like a disaster. And I remember this tour. People were commenting on what is happening with her. Again, it's 80 degrees. Look at this outfit. Like they're talking about, basically they called her Michelle Obama cosplay, and that made me laugh. I don't know what she was dressing for. I don't understand what I'm looking at. I don't understand any of this. It takes a lot of money to look that stupid. That's all I'll say. So according to Tom Bauer, he actually said that outfit she wore to the Harlem School to read the bench was $15,000. Maybe that's in dollars. I don't know. It's around $15,000. How about that? Nice, huh? So then we go into chapter 41, Victory. And unfortunately, it's not great. And I don't mean Tom Bauer. I mean what happens. The Mail on Sunday was trying to appeal. Remember, they had lost... It's so frustrating, you guys. So frustrating. Okay. Remember, Meghan had a, quote, unfortunate lapse in memory where she forgot all this important information. Basically, lied to the judge. But no, she forgot, you guys. She'd forgotten emails exchanged with Mr. Knopf. And she forgot meeting with the authors of Finding Freedom. So... when doing the appeals, the judges saw this and decided, well, yeah, sure, that's a thing. And they marked it as a, quote, unfortunate lapse in memory and would not allow the Mail on Sunday to appeal. Isn't that some crap right there? It really is. It's awful. Meghan then deemed herself successful and accused the tabloids of profit from lies and pain they create. Pot calling the kettle, right? Because isn't that what Spare is all about? The lies and pain they create and how can they profit off of it? That seems to be their whole shtick. So I don't know what she's talking about. Meghan appeared on Ellen at this time. Oh, by the way, Ellen, it's probably up by now because we've been working on it. We're reacting to that stupid appearance on Patreon. Remember when she went on Ellen and what was she doing? Barking and squatting and drinking out of a milk bottle? Oh, so cringe. Oh, can't wait to talk about it. Anyway, so she was doing anything for media attention, basically. All right, so I know I'm going fast, but there really wasn't much more to that chapter. We get into chapter 42, Revenge. Yep, that's the name of the chapter. Harry was refusing to seek any reconciliation whatsoever. So this is, I don't know, around 2022. It was early 2022, March. He had not wanted to make up at Prince Philip's funeral. He didn't want to make up at the Diana, the statue reveal that I talked about last time. He just was not having it whatsoever. He was trying to find a reason to skip the Platinum Jubilee as the, Queen's Platinum Jubilee. And he was looking for a reason to skip it because it was going to showcase that they were private citizens and they would not be on the balcony or in any carriages. Well, he and Maggie Poo can't have that. They need to mention it at all times. Well, this was also when they were working on filming Netflix. So this was just not working out. They needed that shot. They really wanted to get the shot on the balcony and it just wasn't working out for them. He decided to take on this whole, again, victim thing. He was trying to force the government to provide police protection for them. And the government said, no, you're private citizens. We can't do that. No. And yet he seemed to act afraid to go back to England, but he seemed fine because he was scheduled to go to the Invictus Games in April in Holland, and he had no mention of worrying about private police protection there. Oh, goodness. So they go into Harry's dislike of Camilla and how it's being re-energized by Meghan. We sure know this in the book Spare because he took aim at her in that one. Early 2021 rolls around, and I mean, again, Cortez, you guys can fill me in because it was a little confusing. But the way I understood it is Charles had gotten in trouble years ago. I think they'd said maybe 2017, something like that. He had done some business with this Saudi businessman, and it came out in 2021 that he was basically, they were accusing him of doing cash for honors. I'm not here to bash Charles. I don't fully understand the story. The only reason I bring this up is because Harry decided to pounce on this, spoke about it, and highlighted his concern for his father's conduct. The ego on these two, seriously, to think they have any leg to stand on regarding anybody else's conduct. At least Charles isn't trying to take down his family. The way Bauer explained it is it was like he was raising money for charity, and yeah, it got a little shady. But Harry pounced on this. Harry would pounce on this. He's the worst. Tom Bauer goes into this whole thing where Harold and Fraud during this time went to the NAACP Awards, and they took Doria with them, and they were given an award, but then he was quick to point out that part of the deal negotiated was that they get this award, and coincidentally, totally coincidental, you guys, at the same ceremony, it was announced that Archwell was sponsoring a new... You can't even make this stuff up. I can't even get through it without laughing. Archwell was also sponsoring a new award. Looky there. And he's speaking out on Charles's transactional arrangements. And looky there. All right. Archwell accounts were shrouded in mystery, but the purpose seemed to be clear that it was to publicize the Sussexes, and they were going to use it any way they could to try to get ahead. All right. Chapter 43, Fallout, March 2022. Again, this kind of gets murky. All right. William and Catherine were on an 8-day tour of the Caribbean, and it sounds like they were going to Belize, Jamaica, almost said Jamaican, Belize, Jamaica, and the Bahamas. Unfortunately, they seemed to be Team Meghan, and they bought into Meghan's message of racism. They actually believed when she said about her child being denied a title because of, the color of his skin, like she had said on Oprah. So it did not go well for William and Catherine. It just stinks. The whole thing stinks, and I hate that. I think he was going into this to point the fallout that's happening because of the words of these two, that they're doing things like this. They're just speaking and not thinking. Well, they're thinking about themselves. They don't care about anybody else, and it's affecting everybody. And again, all it makes me do is realize, oh my gosh, the Queen, Charles, William and Catherine, they have all been so much nicer to Harold than he ever deserved, right? He didn't deserve even an ounce of their, what's the word I'm looking for? Patience, right? I mean, he's truly the worst. Okay, so Jubilee was rolling around. Harry and Meghan would be confined to these VIP enclosures and not on the balcony. Well, this wouldn't do because they were supposed to get footage for Netflix. So Harry started making a fuss. Started calling up people, being Harry about it, right? He ended up badgering the Queen's advisors. Well, they were hesitant. They're like, no, you can't be up on the balcony. Well, when he failed to get what he asked for a meeting with the Queen. And this part made me absolutely sick. According to Tom Bauer, Harry spun it as he wanted to extend an olive branch to clear the air, to make things better for the Queen, right? So she agreed. They go to London, right? They stay with Eugenie, Harold and Fraud. They walk through this park on the way to meet with the Queen. Turns out they were doing that to get filmed by Netflix. So the Queen's insistence, they had to meet with Charles and Camilla first, and then they would go on to meet with the Queen. Well, the Sussexes, with no respect, no regard for anybody else but themselves, what do? They arrive late. Bauer didn't go too deep in the meeting, but he just said that things were not resolved, basically. Then they went on to have tea with the Queen, And still, theirs was not resolved in terms of all they wanted to do was get on that balcony to get that Netflix shot. But everybody realized at this point, we can't trust these two. Of course we don't want them up there. They left all pissy and they ended up going to the Netherlands again for the Invictus Games. The Netflix cameras were, of course, in tow, following behind for footage. Harry decided this would be a good place to go ahead and vent his anger. He ended up venting to an NBC reporter because he wasn't getting his way. He wasn't on this balcony, right? So, again, he pretended to the Queen it was an olive branch. But as soon as he doesn't get his way, he's venting to an NBC reporter. Remember, he hates the press guys, but he sure doesn't mind talking crap about his family to him. So he brags to this reporter about his special relationship with the Queen, that she would confide in him. So it's like a jab in the eye. Like, she can't trust anybody else. She only trusts me, so she confides in me. To me, I took and Tom Bauer didn't say this, I took it as, is he threatening? Is he like, I know stuff on the Queen? What's he doing? He started to say that the Queen had the wrong people around her. So again, this is what really bugs me. Is he's essentially putting down the Queen and saying basically she doesn't know what's going on. She's got the wrong people around her. So Harry basically resumed war on his family. Tom Bauer, I love this, called it breathtaking arrogance. That's exactly how I would describe it. Everybody else is wrong, but these two are always right? The people advising the Queen are wrong. These two know everything. The breathtaking arrogance. I don't know how to explain it. That's exactly what it is. So during this meltdown, I guess, with the NBC reporter, he decides, oh crap, I'm coming across bad. I better lean into the Diana stuff. So he starts speaking warmly of Diana. During this conversation, he also said that America was his home, but he forgot, literally, I think they said a few weeks before, he contradicted himself. When he had gone to high court to try to petition for the protection, remember I just talked about that? He said that Britain is and always will be his home. So, again, he'll say anything, both of them will, to get whatever they want. They don't care. They don't care they don't care who they're hurting, obviously. They don't care what lies they tell. They'll say anything. So the Sussexes obviously couldn't be trusted. Again, that's from Tom Bauer. What else is new? We know this already. 4 years they had been together, and this is the destruction, right? They've tarnished the royals. Tom Bauer calls them agents of destruction, and I love that so much. I think that's perfection. So May the 6th rolls around, and the Queen announces Meghan, Harry, and Andrew would all be banned from the balcony and her Jubilee celebration in June. The news media was warned 1 hour before the announcement went out. Well, Omid Scobie, lapdog, had to jump in, say that the Sussexes were very appreciative. What were they doing? Well, they were trying to spin it. Basically, their status and their Netflix agreement required them to stay in okay with the family, so that way they could get at least into London. Acknowledgement basically of the downgrade. I'm sure privately they were fuming, but they let go of the special status and the loss of the protection and all that, and again had Scobie report that they were going and they were excited and honored, again turning it like they're the special guests at the Jubilee. Everything has to be about them. Thomas Markle had planned to go to the Jubilee. He had made this announcement that he wanted to be there, and Tom Bauer says he wanted to disrupt Meghan's plan to go there and get filmed with the Queen and the kids, and I kind of love that if that's the case. But unfortunately, Thomas Markle ended up having a stroke during this time and lost the ability to speak for a little while and had to cancel that trip to London. So, Meghan, I'm sure she somehow had a role in something, all I'm saying. So instead of going to see her dad, what did Meghan do? She went and did that awful, I can't even talk about this because it makes me feel so disgusted. That awful photo shoot, Uvalde, that, you know what I'm talking about, with the children. A terrible event happened here in America, and a bunch of kids were taken out. And so Meghan brought a film crew to go, I don't know, put on a show in front of it. And it was just disgusting. I don't even want to talk about it. She's a terrible person. But again, Bauer points out it could have been, I think, a 2 or 3 hour car ride to see her dad, but instead she felt like she needed to go do this promotional shoot for herself and use these kids in this way. It's really gross. All right. So Bauer basically recaps it and says meeting Harry had delivered the fame and fortune that Meghan had sought. That she was a merciless opportunist. I love that. I put that in quotation marks. She's a merciless opportunist. That consequences are irrelevant and she only considers the consequences for herself. I actually even doubt that at some point. And she sought revenge when there was refusal to meet her demands. I would say that applies to both of them because we just saw Harry do it with his family, right? So yeah, they sought revenge when there was refusal to meet their demands. So after the Oprah interview and through this time frame, Bauer talks about that they had short-term popularity, but it sounds like, I mean, we know how this ends, but during the time of the book, he said, midterm, we don't know how this is going to go. Well, I can tell you, it's not going well. Think about their, their popularity ratings and how much people truly dislike them. And didn't they get voted like the least liked, quote, celebrities and all this stuff? I think that's really funny. The only guaranteed income they have is trading off the family that they've betrayed. And Bauer goes into why he thinks Meghan will get into a political career. I wonder if that's changed, though, because, again, I feel like she's so disliked now. I just can't imagine. I don't know. I don't know how she could possibly do that. The Cambridges made sure that during the Jubilee, they didn't have contact with, I almost said the Markles. That's basically what it is. The Sussexes. The Sussexes were sat over to the side. This is where she wore that stupid white hat and that look. But I kind of love that he's wrapping it up here because look at how annoyed Harry clearly looks and look how smug she looks. It perfectly describes them. He seems very painfully stupid and mad at the world, and she is just smug. Nothing is ever her fault. She is always the victim, and she's smug about it. And so that perfectly is summed up in this picture. But I love that the Cambridges and the children and Charles and Camilla and the Queen were all on the balcony for this, and no Harold and Fraud. They ended up taking a private jet before the celebration was over because these two are pouty babies and didn't get their way. So the heartbreaking part of this book, it ends with Tom Bauer explaining that all the Queen wanted was her family to be getting along and happy as she knew it was the end of her life. And the quote from the book is, Harry and Meghan wanted to deny Britain's much loved, longest surviving monarch her final happiness. Oh, I don't know. If you didn't hate them before, how do you not hate them after that? Ugh. Just awful, right? Just awful. And even, I mean, no disrespect to the Queen. I love the Queen. Take the monarch out of it. This is your grandmother. And this is how you're treating a 90-something-year-old lady who knows that she's at the end of her, amazing life. And this is what you're doing. This is how you're ending it for her. It's just further proof that they don't care about anybody but themselves. The only thing that is getting me through this depressing part is knowing how things have turned out now and how unlikable and how, I'd say most people have caught on to their awful antics. And so it'll be interesting going forward. I'll say that. See what happens with these two. But yeah, that's it for revenge. I got to give it to Tom Bauer. He is quite the writer. I love this book. I loved covering it with you guys. Your comments have been amazing. I just appreciate all the love and support. It truly means the whole wide world to me. It really does. I can't wait to jump into more books. Like I say, I'm going to jump into I'm going to crack open Cordias this weekend and kind of get a feel for it. And then I'll bring you something on Monday. We'll start that up. And then, like I said, I just got the Lady C's book, Lady Colin Campbell. the Meghan and Harry, the real story. That's what it's called. So I definitely want to take a look at that as well. I'm excited about that. So give me comments. Let me know your thoughts. Let me know your thoughts on the end of this book. Let me know your thoughts on jumping into Cordia's, going on to Lady Colin Campbell's book, all of it. I want to know. I want to keep this going, and I'm excited to jump into these other books and, see what they have to say and compare stories and keep going with this. I'm very excited to do all that. So thank you guys so much for being here. I really appreciate it. You seriously mean the whole wide world to me, and you've really helped my channel grow, and I thank you for that. If you want to further support, check out my Patreon, patreon.com/Real Housewives Recaps. We truly are having so much fun over there. A lot of comments going on, a lot of real talk, uncensored, cuss words flying, you name it, we talk about it. But I do want to say a huge thank you to my executive producers. Thank you, Kristen. Thank you, Linda. Thank you, Melissa. Thank you, Paige. Thank you, Teresa. Thank you to Mary. Thank you to Amy. Thank you to Mr. K. Thank you to Kay. Thank you, Shauna. Thank you, Brenda. Thank you, Aaron and Frank. Thank you, Kristen. Thank you, Ann M. Thank you, Amanda. Thank you, Ann H. Thank you, Karen. Thank you, Corey. Thank you, Kay King. Thank you, Glynis. Thank you, Sugar Hiccup. Thank you, Karen. And thank you, Dewey. And if you have joined the $10 Patreon lately and you don't hear your name, I just haven't caught up yet. I will get you on the list very soon. Thank you so much. Merch is still available. I just am blown away by the response. You guys have been so amazing with that. I've had so many of you say you picked up some merch and you love it, and that makes me so happy. I'm so glad. Check out Recollections May Vary, Hank and Skank, Make It Make Sense, all that stuff. I'll leave the link in the comments below. But again, thank you guys for all the love and support. It truly means the world to me. Have a wonderful weekend. Come back Monday for, shall we say it together? Courtiers. Take care and have a wonderful weekend. I got more videos coming up this weekend, so it's not like goodbye or anything, but I can't wait to jump back into these books. I'll talk to you again soon. Bye-bye.